it would be nice if all we did in our life is things that we wanted to do. And it would also be nice if all the things that we didn't have to do in life were things that we didn't want to do, right? But here's the thing. While many things in our lives are under our control, we have a lot of agency, we don't necessarily have full agency over our lives, right? So for example, we all not want to die, but we're all gonna die at one point, right? Within the next 100 years, reasonably. Everyone who's watching this video will be dead within the next 100 years, reasonably. This sounds really grim, but that is the reality, right? So that's just one example of how life won't necessarily always give you things you want. But it's okay. You can live life engaged in the mindset of I'm only going to do things when I want to do it. And I'm only going to do things that I want to do. But if we expect total and complete happiness when we engage in life this way, we are being unrealistic because, again, there are things outside of our control, right? So, when it comes time to study, of course, we don't want to study, especially if we are feeling like we're forced to study, but come college time, or come a time where you actually need to perform for a test, you won't be able to, right? Because you followed your desire. And again, you might be lucky and the test may be easy, or it may be cancelled, or your school might go bankrupt, or whatever, right? But the thing is, we can't rely on that, right? That would be like gambling. So, if you are okay with the prospect of occasionally being very disappointed in life, but you take that as the cost of doing only the things you want to do, then I think it's a fine way of living. You don't need to suffer. But we usually want to do things we want to do, and we don't want to do things that we don't like. And also, at the same time, we expect the full benefits of life. That's an unrealistic expectation. We have to be on the same page as that. But again, if you are okay with occasionally being disappointed and you take that as the cost of your lifestyle, that's fine. Just like Ron Swanson in Parks and Recreation. He eats a lot of steak, he smokes cigars, and he drinks a lot of whiskey. But he enjoys the freedom to do that because he's an American libertarian. So if he dies, he's okay with that prospect, right? So if that is your life view, this is a total fine way of living. But if you want more agency in life, if you want to take everything that life has to offer, then it makes sense to develop the ability to do things you don't want to do. It makes sense to develop the ability to not do the things that you want to do because life will occasionally throw those into the mix. So, how do you practice this? Because many people don't practice this and they only see it in real life. So, of course, they struggle a lot. So, how do you invite more challenges into your life? Well, you can pick any kind of voluntary, humanly possible challenge. So, if you're not a runner, running a mile every day, regardless of how you feel that day, that's a wonderful way to do this kind of a development, right? If you are a very passionate oversleeper, waking up at one specific time every day, regardless of the day and how you feel, regardless of whether you're sick or not, that's again a very good voluntary, humanly possible challenge, right? So there are lots of avenues. There's a lot of creativity, room for creativity in these training for doing the things you don't want to do, not doing the things you want to do. But there is a good guideline that you can follow. And if you are interested in that guideline, it's basically my Buddhist practices that I do every day. I'll have a link for you that. You can check out the free guide I have for that in the descriptions, and but more than what you do, right? More than the specific act you do. It's, again, reiterating the point. If you're fine with accepting the consequences, you can continue doing only the things that you like. And you can continue not doing the things that you don't want to do. That's fine. But if you want more flexibility and fluidity in life, regardless of what conditions life throws at you, if you want that ease and regardless of the situation, then it makes sense to develop the ability to do things you don't want to do or not do the things you want to do. And how do you do that? Again, the key point is voluntary, humanly possible challenge. You can decide. If you have an idea of what you want to do, you can do that. But in case you don't, and you would rather follow a guide, I have a very thorough guideline available on my website that you can check out in the links below.